Hi, everyone. I'm David Bowders. I am the CEO of Hounds. I'm here today with Erica Sherman, who is the president of MC Tool and Safety. Welcome, Erica.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit about your company, MC Tool and Safety. What do you guys do?
So we sell tools and safety equipment to contractors and municipalities.
Okay.
We like utility contractors, anybody who's doing demo or if they're doing environmental cleanup, that kind of stuff, and then highway heavy. And we stay right in that Minneapolis-St. Paul area. We get out to the greater 9-county metro area. So
Okay.
we stay pretty local.
I know you said you're relatively new to the industry. Well, what are your impressions of the industry since you joined it?
I love it. Well, I came from the beer industry, which is very male-dominated, and so we're back in a male-dominated area here, and it's fine. I think that it's an exciting, fast-paced industry that we get to solve problems, and that's the fun part.
What are the big problems that you're trying to solve for your customers?
Well, I think that they're all different, So primarily our people are tearing stuff down or building it. And so wherever those problems are, whether they're trying to get, holes into concrete or if they've got to do, utilize some new technology and if we can assist in that at all, in taking it down safer or building it up more efficiently or however that works, we're there. And I love safety. Like safety is the reason I'm passionate about what we do. The power tools are cool and they're great, but man, I can get choked up if you just talk about getting kids home to their parents, right? I got teenage boys and they're driving and then you put power tools in their hands. So
that's interesting. So who are some of the big vendors that you represent?
We've got Ergodyne and Klein. We've got PIP. We do Bosch, a little bit of Milwaukee tools. Stanley Black & Decker on the Lennox side. We've got Razorback line for hand tools. And then on the PPP and that kind of side, we do a lot. Yeah, safety side. Honeywell, a little bit of BW is kind of Honeywell's main line we carry for stuff. And then they've got a Ray line. We do PIP, Radians, gosh, we could keep going. Global Glove.
Okay.
A lot of good, really great suppliers. And over COVID, we actually had to come up with more because you just needed a lot more redundancy. And I'm super grateful to have those relationships that we can lean on several suppliers for the similar items.
I know you mentioned how important social is for your company and even as a small company. Can you tell us a little bit about what you've learned about social and why you're so committed to it?
Yeah. I've learned I feel old sometimes when it comes to social media. I think it's a way to get the name and kind of the feel of our company out there. You're never going to learn how we solve problems or what we do there, but I think it's important that people know you have a personality. People buy from people they like. They can buy our stuff from anybody. I can name 5 or 6 suppliers or distributors in our area that sell the same suppliers, but they don't care as much. They're not as charismatic. They don't engage as much with their customers, in my opinion, because that's why we're here. I wouldn't sell if I didn't love the people I'm selling to.
Interesting.
Because you deal with them a lot, and they're lovely people.
So there's a big demographic shift going on in this industry. A lot of retirements for both the customers, contractors. There's retirements coming with salespeople. There's retirements coming with the vendors that we buy from. You talk a little bit about how social is growing in importance with the demographic shift.
Sure, I think that's where your buyer is now. So as the millennial buyer becomes the purchasing agent or the assistant, and as they buy their own companies or start their own companies, that person is on media, and it's more than social media, right? So you got to have a website, and you have to have an e-commerce, and you have to be all-encompassing and really engage that group so that they know you're real and that you're taking it seriously. And I love face-to-face sales. It's so much more rewarding, but I love more the look on people's faces after they go, "Oh my gosh, I just saw your new video," And I'm like, I know, making an ass of myself. It's fun.
That's funny. At Hounds, about 70% of our community is under the age of 30.
Oh, hands down.
Yeah, so it's a very different market, but I think for a lot of distributors, they're starting to understand they need to connect with their customers and their newest generation of customers in particular, but they can't do it the way they've been
No.
doing in the past.
Well, and it's labor intensive compared to how you do it now too. I do think that generation, the under 35s, has to engage and pick up the phone, but you're going to get them to pick up the phone if they feel like they have a relationship with you. And social media and that avenue gives them that platform. It gives us that platform to communicate with them prior to actually meeting them.
When their camera rings, they might answer it.
Well, you never know, right? I know that lady. I've seen her.
It is interesting, though, because a lot of salespeople today, they understand LinkedIn, they understand social at that level, but the tradespeople are a very different audience, and it's very hard to find them a lot of times on LinkedIn. They haven't viewed LinkedIn as a home.
Right. Not at all.
For that type of community. So I think for a lot of sellers, they really need to start finding where are their customers, and that's one of the things that Trade Hounds we're trying to do is really make it clearer to the distributor. Your customers aren't going to be necessarily on LinkedIn.
Right.
And it's going to be hard for you to go find them on YouTube. So you're going to have to think more carefully about where this ecosystem spends its time.
And I think it's ever evolving, right? So there's new platforms that come up, and as a small distributor, that's really, really hard to manage. So, looking forward, if you've got tech partners, that's really what we'll need help with is, how can we get our one message, our video, or our, whether it's a PDF or something, how do I get that in front of people? Well, we're going to need companies that are more savvy than we are to help out with that. So I'm looking forward to the next, like those, 20-somethings coming out with those companies to help us out.
We do talk a lot about, the importance of peer-to-peer content. Mm-hmm. And this is really where the expectations of sellers becomes very different. It's not, necessarily the CEO of the company who needs to be making video. It's the salespeople. It's the people of the same generation. And, we call it the trail of tears. One of the trails of tears for distributors is they make content, they create wonderful content, and then you go look at their YouTube channel and they've got 15 views.
Right.
Or 12 views.
Yeah.
And they get excited because somebody was happy about it. But the question is, how do they start to connect that content with more people? And I think that's where social becomes so important. They understand social, but they think they should just record a video and drop it out there and people will come, and it just doesn't really work that way.
I agree.
Yeah, it's been one of those, I think, frustration points for a lot of people that kind of sours them sometimes on social is they don't quite know how you do it, or they don't know where to do it. And so they're just stuck with this, this thing they sort of understand but sort of don't.
I agree. I think it's a lot, for me, in my Gen X world, it's a lot of trial and error and asking, and then and getting input. I'm connected to the high school kids in terms of I'm on the band board for our high school, so I get to deal with these wonderful humans that have brains that are way different than mine. I'm like, so what would you do? And how would you do this? And so that's where I get some of my information, but I rely on my marketing manager to do all of that stuff for me. And she's in the age range that gets more of it, but I still think there's more avenues, and it's not easy to post on all those avenues.
Yeah, I think probably one of the smartest things a distributor can do is to make sure that they have someone in their marketing and or sales team who lives and breathes that world.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of your reality check on what you're doing is, does this person actually want to take this on and do something with
Right.
it?
I find that the content's the hardest. She's ready to post and do all sorts of fun things. I'm like, how are we going to make another video? What am I going to do? And I'm the only one at work that'll go on video right now and not really, I can get the other guys to do it too, but how do I come up with something new or something worth watching or something? So a lot of times we do silly little videos, and I'll just about make an ass on myself, but in a fun way where I'm dancing around in high vis because that's what I'm selling this week. I got a new jacket, and the only one I have is a 2X, so I'll throw that on. I don't know, and it's just something to get the attention and just say, hey, we're here. This is who we are. We're fun, but seriously, but serious about safety.
You have to be willing to take some small risks. I remember somebody was panning Woody Allen about one of his movies, and he said, oh, you didn't like that one. Maybe the next one.
All right.
And he left it at that.
Yeah.
He didn't feel like everyone had to be a hit with everybody.
No. Well, and oh, we'll say opinionated enough. I know not everybody's going to like me. I talk a lot, but
One of the things that we're doing with distributors now is creating brand accounts for them on the Trade Hounds app.
nice.
So you can actually take some of the content you've already made and have a home for it where you're in platform, which I think is super
love it.
important.
Yeah,
And
that's awesome.
You talked about the content challenge. I mean, one of the things we have is we have either influencers, which obviously there's some of them who have huge reach, like 1 million or more followers across key platforms. But then we also have a lot of people who are just authentic. They use the products on a daily basis and they make content. We can make, co-branded content that helps you to connect with these people. So you're not having to, do the Woody Allen every time you make a piece of content. You can actually start to, take very specific product categories where you're trying to grow awareness and connect it with people that way.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely great when it's focuses on the product and the content. Our best views are power tools and kind
Content
of new
marketing.
stuff that's going that way. Yeah,
As
but
I-
it doesn't immediately relate to sales or any movement. So I think that the important thing is to know it's not going nowhere. It took
Right.
us 3 years to get any sort of traction, and now we're starting to see some walk-in traffic from just the little bit of stuff we've done.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun.
I think, I walk the trade show here and I see the products that are being sold by staff to members are fantastic for social. They're very, they're relatively self-contained purchasing decisions.
Mm-hmm.
You want to understand a product, what its applications are. You want to understand what are the performance attributes of the product. And then if you like it as a customer, you want to be able to click to order.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think it's really what's missing is that people don't necessarily know, how do I make this available in a platform where social converts to commerce?
Right.
And I think that's kind of the broken piece in so many of these platforms. You put it out there on YouTube, there's no quick way
Right.
to fulfill it.
No. And we can do some links to our site, but even on the e-commerce side, we haven't had good traction. I've had a decent site out there for 4 or 5 years, but they're like, oh, it doesn't look like Amazon's. Well, I'm sorry, but he's got way more money than I have to go develop something, and those tools for distributors like us aren't there yet. They're coming. They're getting better, but man, content is hard.
Yeah.
Content for just one product takes a long time for me to put it in our system.
One of the things that we know, one of our subsidiaries is material management. It's a marketplace for contractors to buy from distributors in the construction trades.
Oh, nice.
And what the contractors tell us over and over again is that they don't want to navigate 5 or 10 different distributor websites
Right.
to get to the product they want to buy. And so marketplaces are becoming really important in terms of how you get exposure to customers. Can you talk a little bit about any efforts you've made in the marketplace space?
Sure. There's a new one in Minnesota called In Supply that we've just joined. Again, it's a content thing for us because he's, his platform is going to connect to my website, and I'm like, well, we're not there yet, for that world. And I don't have enough information or experience on the web design side to help. I'm like, well, what do you need? He's like, I don't know. And I'm like, me either. And luckily I have an ops guy who's pretty good at it, but he's still wearing 16 hats and he's not a classically trained IT guy either. So I think that's the hardest part. How do we make that easier? How do we make it manageable?
Interesting. So can you talk a little bit about your role at STAFTA and how that's working?
Yeah, so I got kind of recruited to join the board by my friend Alan, who's the outgoing president last year. And I have had the distinct honor of sitting on a board. It's a smaller board, average size, there's between 5 and 7 of us, I suppose. And it's just been wonderful. Georgia is a great leader, and she takes what the staff to board members say to heart. And we have 2 really intense meetings a year, and then email conversations throughout the year for what's best for the members. How do we make it better? What can we do in the future to, really, as these changes come, help the distributors work their way along in the digital platform, as well as in the regular day-to-day. There's a whole lot of business done, face-to-face still. So how do we navigate that and help everybody? It's great. It's a great organization. Connecting people, I think that's made the most difference for me. Made me a better owner.
Well, It's been great to chat with you, Erica, and wish you all the best. Thank you.
Really great to chat with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.